morning, ladies and gentlemen. Today I will be talking about sector plan management. As you know that India is one of the biggest democratic country of the world. Elections are the essential building block of it. For any elections, voters and the polling process are key ingredients. The Election Commission of India was constituted for the impartial, fearless and free execution of elections, so that voters can cast their vote according to their own will. Voters should be able to cast their rights in free, fair and fearless manner, and at the same time polling stations and polling process should be conducive and friendly to the voters. To achieve such goal, various steps are taken in election process. To observe free, fair and fearless elections, one has to make certain arrangements keeping voters and the polling process in mind. One such step is to divide the assembly constituencies in various sectors and appointment of sector officers in various sectors in assembly constituencies. How a sector officer is taken? If we want to go for that, first we will have to understand what are the roles and responsibilities of a sector officer, what role he plays in this important task of electioneering. We just see that a sector officer will be appointed just after announcement of elections. Hence, he will be covering his area for practically 40 to 45 days. His role and responsibilities can be covered in 3 different time zones. First is pre-poll phase, that starts from the day of announcement of elections to the day before the election, on poll eve, and third is on the poll day. Then we go for what is his role before the election, that is pre-poll phase. Responsible for election management from the day of announcement of schedule of election till the completion of process. Sector officers will collect the sector map, and after training he will start his work in the field. What are his jobs in the field? Once he goes to the area, very first task he has to do is that area familiarization. Sector officer tries to get familiarized with the area. He will verify the conditions of the road, various routes to the polling locations, booths, the practical aspects and the difficulties found in that route management is also submitted by him at the district level. He will also look into the alternative routes over there which can be used at the time if any situation such arises. Once he goes to the poll booth, then at the polling location he will familiarize himself with the booth, with the location, physical condition of the building. He will check about the basic amenities and facilities at the polling booth, that is conditions of buildings, water availability, electricity availability and other such arrangements such as toilet facilities, ramps for the disabled. These facilities he will look into and he will accordingly make a note of it. He will also inspect and restrict the presence of any office of any political party which is within 200 meters periphery of the polling location. He will also make sure that model code of conduct is being observed by various political parties. He will also meet over there with booth level officers. After meeting the booth level officer, he will collect information regarding booth area, where there is a sensitivity. He will also take care of the voting list. He will again set up an informal communication network out there. What he will do? He will collect the phone number of various offices available out there. He will collect the telephone numbers of booth level officers, people living nearby area in the polling area, so that they may be contacted if needed. After that, he will go about working about some voters. He will check the health of the voter list. He will discuss the voter list with the booth level officer. He will see that photos are there in the photo electoral roll. He will check whether the voters are having their voter ID cards, what is the percentage of people having voter ID cards. He will also again get the specific information about the epic coverage of the area. He will also inform the voters about various helplines, various locations what are there, where they can go and get their photographs done. Again, last but not the least, about the vulnerable areas, because one of the main thing is that each and every voter should be able to cast his vote. He will check out if there are any weaker section people or minority people who have any trouble in casting their right in the previous elections. He will talk to those people. He will ensure that those people are confident enough to go to cast their rights without any hesitation. So that one role he plays when he is in the field in pre-poll time is that confidence of voters of the weaker section is restored. Again, some of the voters may not be knowing the use of EVMs, so he will ensure that EVM demonstration to the voters in the catchment area is also done by him. He will inform the voters to check their name and entries in photo electoral rolls through BLOs. Just a day before election, he will assume another responsibility. In fact, 6 to 7 days before the date of poll, he is also given charge of zonal magistrate. He is entrusted with the magisterial powers. So he starts acting as a zonal magistrate of the area also. He will ensure day before the poll that polling parties and the polling material in his sector have reached their polling booth. He will ensure that police force management is according to security plan. He will clarify any last minute doubts on EVM operation or the polling process among the poll personnel who have been put in task to conduct the elections. He will ensure that law and order is maintained in his area. He will check again that if there is any presence of any political party office within the periphery of 200 meter, then on the poll day he will have different role to play. He will ascertain that mock poll status before the commencement of poll is there. He will check whether that mock poll has been done in front of polling party candidates or their agents. Then he will again check it out if there is any problem regarding EVM machine on the polling process, then if needed that polling machine or EVM can be changed at that time. He will again ensure that forces deployed according to the deployment plan are in place. He will again report the start of polling process and the polling percentage. And he will also be required to send the information on a regular basis about the polling percentage taking place on the polling station. He will ensure that smooth polling is taking place in the vulnerable area, because those vulnerable areas have been already identified. He will check at the polling station whether the voters from that area are coming and casting their vote. If answer is no, if none of the voter from that area has come and casted his vote, he will go to that area and he will ensure that voter of that area come and cast their rights. After completion of polling process, he will ensure that proper sealing of polling material and EVM is done by the polling personnel in each polling station. Then, as you can see from the video clipping, the polling parties are just sealing the polling material. Last job of his is that to take all the polling parties and bring them back to the control room and the collection center. All the polling parties have reached the collection center safe and sound, and with all the EVMs have been deposited, then only his job will be over on the polling day. After looking into his roles and responsibilities, now we think how a sector plan should be made, how a sector should be formed. While forming the sector, following points are taken into the consideration. Each and every sector has to be chosen in such a way that a sector officer oblique that zonal magistrate is able to discharge his duties in most effective and efficient manner. Now you can see the sector map of Jodhpur district. As you can see that all the assembly constituencies are being shown in a different color, and within each assembly constituency some boundaries are being shown depicting different sectors. Now you can see a particular assembly constituency, that is Bilara in the Jodhpur, and all the sectors within the Bilara constituency are shown out here, and with the number denoting the sector number. Now what we have to do, we have to plot the routes on the constituency map, and also within the sector, headquarter for the sector officer has to be denominated. In this map you can see that roads are being shown in that particular assembly map which I had shown you earlier, and star denotes the headquarter of sector officer, and again the names as well as the polling location and the polling booth number are also being shown. Now we move on to an individual sector. Here it is a sector Palasni shown to you. Within the sector, area of each polling location and polling booth or village has been notified separately. The roads are also shown, and where the star is seen, that place is the headquarter for the sector officer. Now sector will be taken, how we decide about the sectors, how many sectors we have to have in a district, and how a sector has to be taken. Foremost requirement is that that route should be manageable. It should be covering 7 to 8 polling locations with 12 to 15 polling booth should be within that particular sector, because there can be polling locations which will be having more than one polling booths. Then again all the polling booths as far as possible within the sector should be such that they are interconnected in a single route, and we have to plan the shortest route of polling booths. Law and order situation of the polling booth should also be considered, as I told you earlier that we will be identifying the vulnerable areas in that particular sector, and because a sector officer will be required to move to those vulnerable areas during the day of polling, so those areas have all to be taken into the consideration while identifying area for a particular sector. Then a sector is made in such a fashion that sector officer can inspect the entire sector in the time period of not more than 1.5 hours. Why 1.5 hours? Basically what happens on the polling day is he has to give after every 2 hours report of the polling percentage to the district election officer and the control room. So the area should be such that he covers the area as well as he spends 4 to 5 minutes on a polling location and sends the information at the district headquarter, and all that can be done in 1.5 hours. For example, a sector map is shown for Bilara constituency, which consists of 9 polling locations having 11 polling booths, and various distances are shown. As we can see, total distance to cover all polling locations is 32 kilometers with an average speed of 40 km per hour. Time consumed in the movement is around 48 minutes, and if we consider time spent at each polling location to be 5 minutes, then the total time consumed at the polling locations is 45 minutes, and total time taken to cover that sector is 93 minutes, that is around 1.5 hours. In map, some of the booths have been encircled in green. That shows that booth is having some kind of criticality, because booths are also identified on the criticality factor. There are around 4-5 criticality factors. On the basis of criticality factor, that booth gains some sensitivity. So, that color shows the sensitivity of that particular location. So, that is also kept in the mind. As you can see on the map, the chart shows starting from Fitkasni, where the polling station number 1617, he again comes back to the Fitkasni, and various distances between first location and second location, second and third location, third and fourth location are shown. So, that distance and how much time it takes is shown over there, and taking into the consideration the time he spends on a particular booth, we calculate that total time required to cover whole of the sector is around 90 minutes. Again, we can see another map in the same constituency, which is having 8 polling locations and having 11 polling booths. Again, the various distances are shown. As we can see, total distance covered here in all polling location is 28 kilometers, and with an average speed of 35 to 40 kilometers per hour, time consumed in movement is around 50 minutes. And if we consider time spent at each polling location to be 5 minutes, then the time consumed at various polling location is 40 minutes, and total time consumed in completing the circuit is 90 minutes. So, practically while identifying the sectors, one has to keep time, number of polling locations, number of polling booths, and as well as the criticality and the sensitivity and the vulnerability of the area in mind, and then those sectors are assigned to the various sector officers. Definitely the sector officers, when we choose from the district, are such that they are competent enough so that they can discharge the duty of a sector officer as well as zonal magistrate in most effective and efficient manner. And I think this is a very challenging task, because identifying such sectors, when we talk about all over India, there are some places where population is very congested, population density is high. So, there definitely distances are shorter, but congestion on the route takes you similar amount of time as the time taken in the far flung area of Rajasthan, where the distances may be large, but time taken to traverse between various polling locations and booths are less. So, keeping all these things in mind, sectors are designed, and when sector officers are given these maps, these route charts, these information, and when they go in the field, and if any difficulty is found by them, or if they face any difficulty in covering the whole of the area in 1.5 hours, some sectors are redesigned, and finally a picture emerges and sector officers are able to discharge their duty keeping these sector plans in mind. Thank you.